Breeze doubled down on what he said when, the kneeling protests happened in the NFL, was it 3 years ago, 2016, 2017. He said the same thing that was articulated then. It was problematic then, right? But it was even more problematic in this context. He said, look, what I think is disrespectful to the flag. And, and my grandfathers served in World War II. And, and when I see that flag, I think of them. And a really poignant sort of part of the pushback, right? That we witnessed in that moment was, in addition to people telling Drew Brees that this was really tone deaf, right? For you now to say that, for you to continue to say, right, that this peaceful protest, right, and this is the other thing that, that conservatives are going to have to wrap their minds around, right? You wanted peaceful protest. Well, Colin Kaepernick engaged in peaceful protest. He got fired. He got condemned by the president of the United States. And then the organization that he works for changed the rules to make sure that no other people could peacefully protest, right? And this was just one guy peacefully protesting, right? So, so that was off the table, and this is off the table. And you're like, well, why can't people be peaceful? Well, we tried that, and that's what happened, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is one of the more eloquent pieces of pushback that Breeze got in that moment, right, which I think should have resonated with a lot of people, was an African-American athlete saying, you know what, my grandfathers fought in World War II as well. My grandfathers were also members of the greatest generation. And when they got home, they came back home to a segregated society, right? They came back home and did not get access to the GI Bill. They came back home and were not allowed to live wherever they wanted. They came back home and could not attend, right, their flagship state institutions because they were Black living in the American South, right? So why should my grandfathers, right? So why should my grandfather's experience be wiped away when we talk about people's relationship to the flag? Right. And that's not to say that the Black guy's grandparents were unpatriotic. Indeed, they came home and fought to get the Constitution enforced. Right. But what he was suggesting was that you can have a different perspective on this and still believe in the land of the free and the home of the brave. You can have a different perspective on this and still conclude that, you know what, it's really important for me to engage in this protest right now because these things are happening to people who look like me.